Victoria College is now home, but the suspect or suspects remain on the run.
Authorities on the lookout for a suspect in Jackson County. The details on his charges this evening.
And the suspect in the flea market shooting in Pearland now in custody. The latest in the charges all three face tonight.
Well, as opposed to the weekend weather, this week's weather is going to be very nice. We've got clearing skies, lots of sunshine over the next couple of days. For me, I'm looking over beyond the horizon where the next storm will probably be affecting us within 7 days. I'll have more on that coming up.
East and El Campo basketball teams are here on the hardwood. We have highlights in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
An Amber Alert was issued around 9 this evening out of Wilmer. The victim is a 10-year-old Hispanic male, and the suspect he was last seen with is 38-year-old Juan Aguilar Cano. Authorities are on the lookout for a tan 2007 Chevrolet Tahoe with a Texas license plate KVZ 1194. Call 911 if you have any information.
A 30-year-old Victoria College student remains in the hospital following a shooting last night on campus. It happened right around 7 p.m. at the Continuing Education Center, during which students, staff, and instructors had to shelter in place until close to around 9 p.m. At last report, the suspect remain on the run. And now here's a timeline of events from last night. Police say the shooting happened around 7 p.m. Victoria College first alerted students at 7:30, saying there was an emergency on the main campus and to lock doors and remain inside until further notice. 25 minutes later, Victoria College confirmed shots were fired at the Continuing Education Center. They alerted students and staff to avoid the area and remain sheltered in place.
At 8:45 p.m., Victoria College confirmed there was one gunshot victim who was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries to his arm and leg. The VPD was releasing people in the building by escorting them to their vehicles. At 9:50, VC canceled classes for Tuesday and reminded students and employees that counseling was available starting Wednesday. As for the suspects or suspect, they are still at large.
And this afternoon, Victoria College President Dr. Jennifer Kent released a statement at a press conference and answered several questions.
25 News Now reporter Adarius McCormick was there and has more. Adarius?
Dr. Jennifer Kent shared the campus's response to the shooting Monday night. Her main goal for the press conference was to reassure the school's priority on safety. When the Victoria Police Department made it to the scene, Victoria College students filled the campus for night classes and other events. Dr. Kent says security heard shots fired and started the lockdown immediately.
As they noticed that there was an incident and heard gunfire, one swipe of that card, that security badge, was able to lock down the entire campus.
One student happened to take a short break from class around the time of the shooting. Here's what he remembered of the shooting.
Yeah, he came over here and was right over here. And then the cop pulled up behind him and he went back over there, laid down, and then the ambulance came.
Yeah. He was not the only witness. The victim is a student at VC and was most likely attending class or an event on campus.
Was a 30-year-old victim a student?
Yes, he was a student.
Several students witnessed the incident right outside of the Continuing Education Center. Dr. Kent says they do not believe the suspect was a student, but they believe the victim and suspect knew each other. Reporting in studio, I'm Adarius McCormick. Back to you.
Adarius, thank you. And Victoria College is reviewing the security footage of the incident.
That's right. Here is your viewer poll tonight. You can scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. The question is, are you satisfied with how Victoria College handled Monday night's shooting incident? Yes or no? According to our results, it looks like 92% stand at yes and 8% stand at no. Thank you for voting. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part.
The Jackson County Sheriff's Office is asking for help in finding or information leading to the arrest of 33-year-old Cody Wade Presley. He is 6 feet 2 inches tall, 185 pounds, and is from the Lolita and LeWard area. Presley has several felony warrants, including theft and smuggling of firearms. If you see or know the whereabouts of Cody Wade Presley, you can contact the Jackson County Sheriff's Office at 361-782-3541. Let's take a first look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. Mac, I had forgotten how the sun looked, but it sure looked nice today.
Yeah, it sure did. I mean, it was what a difference 24 hours from yesterday when it was so soupy. But the weekend rain was terrific. We needed that. Now we've got about 4 or 5 days of very nice weather. For me, I'm looking out at the Pacific. There's a huge storm out there that's going to have something to do with our weather next week, and I'll be talking about that coming up a little bit later on. Back to you.
Mac, thank you. The suspect accused of firing shots during a fatal flea market shooting in Pearland turned himself in today. KPRC reports 19-year-old David Negrete was booked into the Brazoria County Jail around 10 a.m. 10-year-old Francisco Durate was killed in the shooting. Juliana Espino and Cruz Meza, both 18, were arrested on Monday in connection to the shooting. They were charged with tampering with physical evidence and making false statements to a peace officer. The Texas Department of Criminal Justice announced the death of an officer Tuesday. 27-year-old Jovan Motley died while serving at the Wainwright Unit in Houston County. Motley was helping other officers in restraining an inmate at the prison when he died. So far, no further details have been released.
The funeral for Jorge Pastor, the Austin police SWAT officer who was shot and killed this past weekend, will take place Friday. The Austin American-Statesman reports Pastor was among 4 people who died in a hostage standoff at a South Austin home early Saturday. It marked the first time in more than a decade that an Austin police officer has been killed in a line-of-duty shooting. The assailant and 2 people inside the home also died. A Houston teenager, 17-year-old Luis Alfredo Mencias Escobar, is accused of smuggling several migrants, leading police on a chase and smashing into an oncoming vehicle before his death on a South Texas highway last week. 8 people, including a couple in their late 60s from Georgia, died due to the wreck near Batesville, about 80 miles southwest of San Antonio. Mencias Escobar was driving a 2009 Honda Civic and reportedly tried to outrun Zavala County Sheriff's deputies.
The Texas House gave first approval Tuesday to a bill that would send $1.5 billion to continue construction of the border wall. KXAN reports Senate Bill 3 would allow more funding for the construction of the wall at the Texas-Mexico border. The bill will have to clear again in the House for a third procedural vote on another day. Then it will need approval again from the Senate with the new amendment. And illegal border crossings from Mexico fell 14% in October from a month earlier. U.S. authorities say that ends a 3-month streak of big increases. Arrests of Venezuelans also plummeted to 45% in just 1 month. But arrests of Chinese people rose slightly, with 99% of them in the San Diego area.
The San Antonio ISD Board voted Monday night to close 15 schools and merge 3 others. The Board of Trustees voted 5-2 to shut over 15% of the already shrinking urban educational facilities. The school closure recommendations came after analyzing student enrollment at each school and how much it would cost to sustain them. We just got in word Edgewood ISD in the San Antonio area. Board met tonight and they're closing 2 schools in that school district. Food is always in need, especially around the holidays, and that's why Victoria Christian Assistance Ministries, or VCAM, needs your help to make their food drive a success. Lori McVeigh, operations manager for VCAM, says their annual holiday season food drive donations are running low right now, and the need only continues to grow.
We're running low on food, and whatever you donate would be very appreciated. Thank you very much.
VCAM gives out around 100 boxes of food daily to those in need. For more information and location details, come to our website, crossroadstoday.com. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. Stay with us. An interstate in Ohio was shut down after a fatal crash involving a charter bus and a semi-truck. Coming up on 25 News now at 10, the number of those killed and hurt in the crash.
Also ahead, lawmakers in Congress are racing against time to prevent a government shutdown this weekend.
For more than a decade, meteorologist Trey Mining has served as your trusted face at 25 News Now First Warn Storm Team. But now, he faces a different kind of storm.
So I saw a neurologist here in town. And they says, I think it's Parkinson's possibly, but I'm not sure.
Join anchor Carolina Estrain as she presents Trey's Story, a 25 News Now Extra, this Thursday night at 10. Sometimes the bravest forecasts aren't about the weather.
Interstate 70 was shut down today in both directions in Ohio after a semi-truck crashed into a charter bus. Authorities said 3 people were reportedly killed and another 15 were hurt in the crash. They said the charter bus was transporting students from a school in eastern Ohio at the time of the crash. 57 people were on board, but the cause of the crash is not yet known. On Capitol Hill, House members voted late this afternoon on the new elected speaker's plan to keep the government running.
Congress has a deadline at midnight on Friday to reach an agreement.
It's a race against the clock to avoid a government shutdown, with a Friday midnight deadline fast approaching for Congress to reach a deal. The House voting today on a plan introduced by newly elected Speaker Mike Johnson, who spoke with Newsmax.
What we're trying to do is make sure the government stays in operation because we're in a dangerous time.
The proposal divides funding into 2 parts, keeping agencies like Veteran Affairs, Transportation, and Housing going until January, and the rest of the government functioning until February. Johnson needs bipartisan support for it to pass, with at least 10 House Republicans saying they will not support it, asking for deep spending cuts.
Are you going to vote to pass the CR today? Where do you stand?
No. We're over $1 trillion now in interest on the national debt, and this does nothing.
I'm not supporting this CR as it's been described to me.
Some Democrats saying they're open to the plan.
We're going to have a family conversation about where we are and where we need to go, again, anchored in democratic values of putting people over politics.
If the government does shut down, 3.5 million federal workers could lose a paycheck.
Average Joe American, when the money doesn't come in your account, you may not be having any food on the table.
That includes TSA agents and air traffic controllers, which could impact Thanksgiving travel. On top of all of this, federal officials have recently sounded the alarm about the air traffic controller shortage. Airlines also acknowledging a staffing issue, announcing they're planning to hire tens of thousands of new employees with the holidays right around the corner. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Republican Congressman Tim Burchett called former Speaker Kevin McCarthy a jerk after he elbowed Burchett. The Tennessee lawmaker was speaking to reporters when McCarthy appeared to bump into his back. Burchett initially apologized before realizing it was McCarthy and yelled, "Why did he elbow him?" Burchett finally believes McCarthy elbowed him on purpose.
Oh, it was 100% on purpose, man. What are the chances? 435 members of Congress paid up us voters against him. I'm the one who did it. I'm one of them that did it. He's publicly called me out. And he didn't see any cameras. He didn't think anybody was paying attention. But
He said McCarthy denied knowing what Burchett was talking about, but said he'd like to take a lie detector test with the former speaker. Burchett insisted McCarthy was bitter about his ousting as speaker. The mental health of preteens and teens is a growing concern.
That's right, but not all children are getting the help they need.
Medication and counseling can help teenagers and kids with mental health disorders like depression and anxiety. The 2021 National Health Interview Survey found about 15% of children used mental health services. Kids aged 12 to 17 use mental health services more than kids aged 5 to 11. Medication was used more by boys, while counseling services were used more by girls. White children were the most likely to get mental health treatment. The closer kids lived to a big city, the less likely they were to use mental health services. There may be gaps in mental health care due to access issues or stigma against things such as therapy. Open communication and positive social connections can help in improving mental health. Talk to your child's pediatrician if you're concerned about their mental health. With this Medical Minute, I'm Justin Finch, ABC News.
The city of Midland is challenging the disposal of oil field wastewater near its drinking supply. You can read this Texas Tribune article on crossroadstoday.com.
Well, good evening, everyone. We're looking at 58 degrees. Clear skies allows the temperatures to drop. But with the sunshine, it allows the temperature to get up to 74. It's the warmest thing we've seen in about 5 to 7 days. That's exactly where we were supposed to be. We didn't have any rain in the last 12 hours, but the storm, the one we had over the weekend, gave us 292. So that cut our deficit by almost half. So that was good. The rainfall will not be with us all the way through the weekend. Next week, we'll be talking about that coming up in a moment.
Hi, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs with the Victoria Police Department. Victoria Crime Stoppers is requesting information regarding a murder. On November 4th, 2018, at approximately 3:15 a.m., 24-year-old Joshua Williams was murdered inside a home at the 1900 block of East Guadalupe Street. If you have any information about this murder, submit a tip to the Victoria Crime Stoppers at 361-572-4200. Tips can also be submitted via the P3 Tip app or via our website, www.crimestoppersvictoria.com. All tips are anonymous, and if you give information that leads to arrest or charges being filed, you could earn a cash reward. With the Victoria Police Department, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs.
Well, good evening, everybody. We are looking at the Texas map, and you can see it's generally clear over the state. The rain that was over us for the weekend is now rolling eastward, and we have a few little high clouds in far west Texas, but that's not a problem. Generally, the entire state's going to have very nice weather for the next 4 or 5 days. In fact, all the way through even Sunday. But it's by Monday things start getting interesting because I start looking to the west. This is Future Tracker, and you can see how everything is sort of flowing away to the east. We're getting these winds that are going up and then down. And although on the west coast we've got a big storm that we're going to watch, because that one is eventually going to erode this little hill that you have here and work its way down with some rain possibilities. This is what we're talking about. Now, this is a very powerful storm out off the west coast. You're thinking, what do I care about a storm on the west coast? Trust me, this thing is going to roll over most of the country in the next week. I mean, it's kind of like a bowling ball. Right now, it's already picking up 25-foot waves out here. It's beginning to pull up the moisture. Much of the west coast is going to be under the gun for heavy wind and rain and snow. And then which way does it go? I think it's going to go south and go over the Rockies and eventually affect us. That's why I have it in the 7-day forecast. Now here's the weekend rain. That's gone. And then we see that storm circulating out there and eventually getting over the Rockies. And notice it comes down into Texas on Monday morning. That's when the rains come through here, and you'll see there's some snow associated with it, and then it pushes through. So our temperatures are going to go back to the, well, let's just say, don't put your coat away just yet. We're going to be needing it by Monday and on into Tuesday. Got some video to show you. This is very interesting. Here's a job for you. If you want to be a volcanologist, all you have to do is go out to the middle of a lava field and get a sample and bring it back. Of course, the lava is about 1,000 degrees, and it's kind of a problem. It's very dangerous, but that's what they're doing in Iceland, because basically they're about to blow a volcano along the coastal areas, and they're getting, like, every minute they're getting a different earthquake. So the lava is working its way, or the magma is working its way up to the surface, and pretty soon it's going to be very interesting in Iceland. A lot of the people have already been evacuated off this side of the island. Anyway, for us, we're looking for an overnight low getting down into the 50s because of the clear, cool nights. But the sunny, mild days are going to be with us in the low 70s. You're really going to like it. This weekend's going to be spectacular if you have anything planned outdoors. Fishing is getting better. I'll tell you why. The winds are down now, down north at 5 to 10, and so the bays are coming down, and so are the seas. Your sunrise is at 6:51. So for those of you in Port Lavaca, 57 low, 73 high, lots of sunshine. In Cuero, same thing, 52 low, 74 high, lots of sunshine there. And I tell you, it's going to be a spectacular week with sunshine, mild temperatures in mid-70s all the way through the weekend. Sunday it starts getting interesting. Right now I'm going to say it's generally a good day. Monday the front starts approaching, giving us a chance for rain, which will get even heavier by the time we get to Tuesday. We'll certainly be updating this as we go along through the week. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Mr. Gino with sports.
Thanks, Mac. The Ganado Indians have a tough matchup in San Marcos. That's coming up after the break. At a Crossroads, the Victoria East basketball team faced off against another red and white team in the El Campo Ricebirds. The Ricebirds East gets a steal and a beautiful pass behind the back for the score. Easy layup. Gonzalez drives down the court, pulls up and makes an easy shot right at the rim there, making a comeback though. But it's still early in the game, and the Ricebirds have been having a great season so far, working on fundamentals like passing, getting the ball. Basically everyone touches it here before Jubezi drives to the baseline and does a little floater in for the score. Ricebirds up early late in this game. East with the ball at the top of the key. Rivera drives past his defender, gets fouled, but the and one. The El Campo Ricebirds would go on to win 48-40 over the Victoria East Titans. Now the Ganado Indians are in the playoff hunt, and they're going to have a big game this week if they're going to have to beat up on the Mason Punchers. And they're going to do so under the leadership of Josh Irvin. Last week, the Cougars put the Indians at 9 wins, and this is the second time in a row that the Indians have had a 9-win season. Ganado will look to improve upon that against the Mason Punchers. Indians head coach Irvin said that this team will play with a chip on their shoulder and is young and confident, and talks about what they are going to do to have to come out with a victory.
We're going to have to put together a full game. We're going to have to play really good run defense. Offensively, we're going to have to find a way to move the ball, create big plays, score points, and then special teams has to be the X factor that it has been the majority of the year for us in all the phases of the special teams.
The 9-2 Indians have a tough matchup against the undefeated Mason Punchers. These two teams are nearly identical on both the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. Ganado and Mason have given up an average of just over 12 points a game, while the offenses have scored 40 points per game. We will see how that game shakes up in San Marcos at Rattler Stadium. And we have a correction. This game is at 7 on Thursday. So 7 on Thursday. Well, with the Buffaloes' loss last night, and if the playoffs started today, the Houston Texans would be in the playoffs. This past weekend was very beneficial for the Houston Texans because many teams that lost are in the playoff hunt, including the Bills, Ravens, Jaguars, Bengals, and Chargers. As it sits, the AFC playoff picture, the Kansas City Chiefs are the #1 seed, followed by the Baltimore Ravens, Jacksonville Jaguars, and Miami Dolphins, respectively, which each are the leaders in their division. Meanwhile, the Texans' season is looking up from last year, going 3-13-1, and seemingly found its head coach in DeMeco Ryans and quarterback in C.J. Stroud. Also, don't forget, this is the final week for CFL, and we will have highlights and scores and the schedule for all the matchups on our website at crossroadstoday.com. With your sports, Don and Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Gino. Now stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10, we'll take a last look at your weather with Mac. Plus, a golden retriever farm in Vermont goes viral.
Savior's Lutheran Church in Victoria is having its 9th annual Community Thanksgiving Feast this Saturday. They'll be serving the free feast to the public from 4 to 6 p.m. for anyone that wants to come. This event started off being for the homeless, and now this affair has grown to serve everyone. The feast provides food for more than 700 people each year. This is the church's way of giving back to the community.
It's so rewarding to me to see our multi-purpose room filled with people celebrating Thanksgiving, enjoying each other's company, where they may be lonely, and this is going to be maybe their only form of communication at Thanksgiving.
If you miss the festivities, then the community is always welcomed at Our Savior's Lutheran Church to come to the food pantry every second and fourth Tuesday of the month from 4 to 5 p.m. for a box of food. An unusual sporting event came back in Las Vegas Monday as participants tried to sweep their competition under the rug. Several people took part in the Housekeeping Olympics, where international teams compete in categories like vacuum races and bed making. This is the 33rd year of the event and the first one in 4 years. The pandemic postponed the competition until now. The team from the Bellagio were the winners and hosted the championship trophy. You know, in the vacuum competition, I guess there's no penalty for piling on.
Me and my brother used to, my mom would be like, hey, I'm 5 minutes from home. And we'd be pretty good in that competition.
I feel like I could win that.
Clean the house.
Might not be that neat, but might get done pretty quick.
Yeah,
picked up all the toys real quick.
Will we be clean of rain tomorrow?
Yes, we will be swept of rain tomorrow because things are going to be cleared up very nicely. Lots of sunshine, very nice temperatures in the afternoon, maybe a little cool in the morning because we'll get down to the 50s, but by and large we've got great weather all the way through Saturday and Sunday. It's not till next Monday that we start looking at the next frontal system coming in with some rain and some cooler weather by Tuesday of next week.
Thank you, Mac. Now, people are taking notice of a Vermont farm, and who wouldn't when there are cute golden retriever puppies everywhere? The owners of the Golden Dog Farm say a travel influencer recently posted a video suggesting the destination during Vermont's fall season. That video now has over millions of views. The farm offers a golden retriever experience where several dogs play and snuggle with guests while they drink cider.
The world's a bit of a heavy place right now. There's a lot going on. And this is just an hour kind of to step away from that.
An atmosphere of just like happiness, which is so cool. I've never experienced that before.
Now, they are almost sold out through mid-December, but they do plan to offer it again next year, so you can have all the fun with the golden retrievers out there.
Oh, who's drinking the cider? Is it the
dogs? Yes.
The dogs are drinking the cider?
Yes.
Really?
If you wear out, they come and give you some.
Oh, well, then that's a good dog right there.
That's a great idea because those labs have these great faces, right? That's happiness all over the place.
Joy's personality is just roofing away. All righty, well, thank you guys, and thank you for joining us for 25 News Now at 10.
Join Carolina Astorine and meteorologist Parker Cox for 25 News Now Sunrise, starting at 5 a.m. Have a good night, everybody.